That's right.
Happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. This is your favorite crypto trading show, Crypto and Coffee with the Trading Bros. Happy Wednesday to everyone. And a little bit early on that call, but it took us right down into the area that we were talking about yesterday, and that's where we're currently sitting at. So now it's about, are we going to get that bounce and ride up, or is there some more downside to go? So that's what we're going to try to figure out here on the show this morning. So
But
be
let me
watching.
ask you something on Clutch before we jump into the charts. How do you feel about crypto this morning?
How do I feel about crypto this morning?
Yeah,
I think crypto's awesome, man. Why would I
yeah. But
think anything different?
what's your sentiment on kind of the overall opinion of crypto? Do you think that people are still excited about it? Do you think like what's your opinion about the state of crypto today?
I feel like there's not been just a huge bunch of news since the new ETH merger. So I think people are just kind of stagnant about it right now. There's nothing that's super exciting. We haven't had any big pumps, so I kind of expect that we would see some nice momentum soon to start getting retail back on board and starting to buy crypto. Yourself?
Uh, this is what I noticed. I noticed that there's not a lot of liquidity that's coming into the market. So when we look
Mm.
at these charts, there's just not a lot of new money that's coming in. I think we've got a lot of money on the sidelines, and that's preventing, the moves to the upside. And I think, and we kind of talked about this yesterday, and I'd like to have a discussion about it, but it's instead of me just talking about it. Don't you? So, like in the past, retail investors have always been kind of the dumb investor, right? That's what they call them, dumb money, right? Dumb.
Mm.
But now there's such the internet's out there, crypto's such a transparent deal that retail's got some of the same tools that some of these institutions are having, right? So doesn't that level the playing field a little bit? So, everybody's talking about these vicious bear market rallies that are supposed to happen. Bear market rallies are supposed to catch dumb money off sides. But if dumb money is no longer dumb money, are we going to have the same patterns that have existed historically now that we don't have the data now that we have the data that those, past participants didn't have? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, you take a look that we've been trading now for a little while, and I think retail is always going to be retail. They follow news. They get excited when big people start talking about things, and I really think that you're probably giving retail a little bit of an upper hand on saying that they're super educated on how the market works. The market's still going to find a way to take their money,
Okay,
no
so
matter
so,
what
so I'm glad
happens.
I'm glad you said that because what do we see, right? Like what do we see all the time? When we see all the short interest that's out there, right? That short interest turns around the long interest really fucking quick,
Right?
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like because there's so much information out there, and I think that's what's preventing us from having like that really like there's still too much bullish momentum in the market, right? Like everybody thinks that just because we've gone down so much that we're just going to hop right back up into that. And we're kind of at this point where we could go either way. I mean, if we're we can hop on the charts here, but if we're looking at this from a long-term basis, I know I've got this line here that represents this yellow line that represents support. But ultimately, we should probably
We have another
return back.
leg. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we got to. But I think a lot of folks are like, okay, well, this is support, and it's going to get us back into this area versus this consolidation period that's going to get us into this period. I think and I know, and shout out to Traders Reality. I mean, one of some of the things we look at is kind of a a rise if this is considered to be a W. But if you even look at it, I mean, we really haven't completed this W. I mean, we kind of have here, but we haven't done that, and so I just am not as anticipating this bear market rally that everybody else is because I just think we have to complete this pattern see if this pattern actually holds. It'll probably then start to go up, but then I think we still got this leg down that we've always been talking about. But I just wanted to kind of put that out there, have that discussion,
Oh
follow
yeah,
up on the shit
absolutely.
I was talking about yesterday, so that you know. And look, we're not even getting up to this 200. This is on the daily. We haven't seen this. We haven't seen this 200 in a very long while. But once we start heading in that direction, I do expect us to move. But I just don't see this bear market rally. But I could be wrong, but I doubt it. But anyway, so we're we're sitting kind of in this mini range, right? If we look at these nodes here on the daily, I mean, we've got, I would say, it doesn't show up here. We've got POC up here, but for this consolidation, I think we've got POC. I would put it kind of right in this 1356 area, which we kind of visited, and now we're back in the 1322s, which is exactly where we were, a few days ago over the weekend, and we're kind of moving up in this pattern. And as you know, as we move up into this pattern, we kind of caught resistance here on this red EMA here, and we've rejected off of that. And the real test is going to be whether or not we start to move up into and back up into this range, right? So on the 200, you're looking at my chart here. On the 200, man, I'm still fighting this cold. We're getting back into this to this area, which is the psychological high. We've crossed back. We haven't crossed, but we breached the 200 on the hourly. It's very important. I thought that we would really start to get up into this area, but we said yesterday if it holds into this area, that we could very likely see a move to the upside. But the fact that we've had this move down so early, in the session, I mean, it's 8:50. We probably got another 15, 20 minutes to kind of see what the market does. But we've got psychological high and low, very tight range. Yesterday's low, last week's low. We still have an imbalance in the chart here. And we've never really retouched this area, which is that, kind of 1220 area, which I'll call it, that I anticipate that we get back to at some point. So if we do start to break down into this area and really start coming here, I would be watching these levels, even as close as 1300. If we start breaking below the psychological low, I would expect us to get down to last week's low, probably have a little bit of a bounce, and then continue to move maybe down to the downside as well, complete kind of this pattern here, maybe get a run back up. But I'd be watching this kind of the support area pretty closely because we do have vectors. When we looked on the daily, we do have some vectors to the downside. So I think we're at a critical moment. If you were asking me, where are we going? I would say that, just kind of based if we get some volume that comes in, all the volume's been to the downside, that we may start to get some movement to the upside. But we may hang out in this area and around the psychological highs and lows and kind of range in this area before moving up or breaching down to the downside. But I think 1300 is going to be a critical area for that. If we look at some of the other areas that are out
So you think 1300 is going to be a big support area that we got to break through if we're going to break down?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, 1300's a nice whole number as well. It's a critical area. A lot of people, all we know is, the even numbers, especially a big area like 1300 is going to have some support. But if we start breaking down below that, then I would be pretty concerned, relative to a move to the downside. And, I'm looking at OI, this is aggregate OI, overall, we're at $5.4 billion. So we do have some OI that's building. So I mentioned that, it wasn't a whole lot of liquidity in the chart, but the perp market is, kind of right where it has been for the last couple of weeks. So that might have been a misstatement. But, we talked about this yesterday. When OI starts to get on board, right, and this was, more longs, and how can I tell if they're longs? Well, retroactively, I can look at that because when we're coming down, it's coming down as well. Right. So, we've got, liquidations of these longs, and we've got, a reduction in OI. And so when you see OI really start to get in concert and then checking some of your other indicators, and that looks like they're going long. And the reason why I say they're going long is because, we talked about this earlier when the prices, we still got in a very aggressive market. So that, yeah, we've got a lot of shorts up top, but as soon as price starts moving to the upside, I mean, you've got guys who are hopping on longs pretty quick. And longs are easier. I would say longs are easier to liquidate, but cascading effects of selling off into a long environment is just a little better. So if we look at things like spot, CVD here, I mean, this move to the downside, I mean, that's a pretty aggressive move to the downside. And here we are. We've got, OI that's starting to stabilize. So what does that mean to me? If we've got, spot that's going down, OI that's starting to stabilize with price moving down, so we've got people that are starting to buy the dip, which tells me that they may range in this area for a little bit, get some more folks on board. If those 4 folks are short, then we'll probably get a move to the upside. If the majority of those folks coming on are long, then I would anticipate that we get a move to the downside, just kind of in the interim. But just kind of look, if I was to take a good guess off of what's going to happen based upon what I'm seeing, I would tell you that we probably got some more room to the downside before we start heading up. So might be a little early on those longs, but I think that eventually.
So are you saying that they're going to start working on really starting to get people on the short train?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, because if we go back into this chart here, I mean, we got unbalanced volume. We didn't really talk about that, but we've got that moving. We've got to probably get down into this area, and this is on the hourly. But you do know, I mean, this is going to be considered a level of great support, right? Because this is an area that we've been to before, and this is a big area. I'm not going to lie to you. So we get in here. It's going to be this, and if it got there with a nice cascading wick or something of that nature, I would tell you that you're probably going to get a lot of shorts that are on board, especially, we got to take a look at the news and all that good stuff to see what people are talking about. But if the sentiment was a lot more negative and you get a lot more short volume in here, then yeah, I would expect for us to come back in here, probably test, and then move right back up and short squeeze those folks, probably back up into this area, range into this area before we come back down. Because one, we still got this imbalance in this area. We've tested this 200 a few times, but it's really going to be about, OI has been a really big indicator for me lately, just because, everybody, and I say everybody, a lot of it's on crypto Twitter, a lot of guys are anticipating this move to the upside. I mean, analysts on CNBC as well, just because one, it's October, up October is a thing, so we're seasonal. But as we do know, before things go up, they can sometimes bring them back down. And then, yeah, we may not go up from here. We've had 2 great days, which I think is reshuffling of the market going into a quarter. So from September to October, some shuffling around a month in that's caused, at least the markets, traditional markets, to go back up. But, it's 2 days of reshuffling, and now, real world has to resume. So we'll have to see what the narrative looks like as we move forward today. Of course, we're looking at the Dow in the S&P here. We're down early, and we'll just have to see how that works out. Again, we probably got another 15 minutes before things really start to shake out. Oil's up. I mean, we got to pay attention to that because that, goes into the CPI number as well. And we're all going to be looking at that moving forward. Did I hear somebody come up?
That's just a little cockroach that actually joined the show.
What up?
Yeah, Captain K, what's up, man? What's good, my friend?
Not much. Just woke up, ready to hop on the trades, boys. See what the market has for us today.
You just missed the best. You just missed all the best analysis.
Yeah.
You'll have to.
I do want to go back and kind of touch on that liquidity deal that we were talking about earlier. That's not just a whole lot of liquidity in the crypto market, but we've been having some nice upsides in the traditional stock market. And if you remember, a a while back there was a time where they were kind of alternating markets. It would go up in the stock market, and then they do some money transfers, and then you would see the crypto come in right behind that. So when they're just moving a bunch of the dollars around between traditional and crypto markets.
Rotation.
So I mean, maybe that's what's happening at this point in time.
Well, I mean, we've been correlated, but now we're not really that correlated. Market's done a lot, and crypto hasn't done anything, right? So and there could be a bifurcation. Yeah, I said it, bifurcation. Shorts that
Did you make that word up?
No, look it up. Look,
No.
You got Google. Get it done. You got when.
Can you spell that?
Yeah, bifurcticcat, bifurcation, TION.
Damn.
Congratulations, you've won the spelling bee.
That rotation out of stocks, looking at, if we were to go back and look at the market cap, we've got a pretty nice move to the upside on the market cap. For whatever reason, a lot of money's going into altcoins. XRP's got a lot of news going on right now. They've been pumping. I know, because I got a buddy that likes XRP, and he's just going crazy about it. But
let's go, baby.
Yeah, but if you look at some of the traditional movers, the Bitcoin, right, and all, they just, and they're talking about all the Bitcoin and Ethereum that's being taken off. Really, Bitcoin has been taken off at the exchanges, right? So that you can't sell it if it's not an exchange. But somebody's out there, somebody's out there holding, waiting to get to a good price, and they're just going to dump the market. Why? Because the people are going to go long, right? There's still a good amount of crypto traders that are out there, and they ape in, right? Like, we were on this move to the upside, and I was looking at the OI specifically for Bybit and Binance, and as soon as we got into those levels in which you would say, okay, we're going to have a breakout, OI was like freaking at the top of the chart. So at that point, you got to figure that they're going to take out some of that OI, and that's exactly what they did. Now, are those guys stupid enough to get on board again? Probably, right? But
the apes will always show up.
Yeah, but what will give them more confidence if we drop down a level and they say, oh wow, it really has to go up now, right? And then they'll do the same thing at lower levels. And I think you get more longs on board, and I think you get more shorts on board as well, because you've got guys like myself that are looking at that support level and just not buying into the fact that you're going to have support there. So again, we'll have to look at it when we get there. But yeah, I think rotation of capital is definitely happening, but the correlation between the traditional markets is starting to break down a little bit. But it's all, it's only really breaking down to the upside. It's not really breaking down it's still correlated to the downside, because we got a down day here, we got a down day in crypto. We had an up day in big up days, like 800 points on Dow up days and we got like a 3% move on crypto.
Right.
That ain't right. Let me just hit the news real quick, and I will shut the fuck up.
Thank goodness. Jeez.
ADP, man. So ADP employment reports. We've got mixed news, man. We've got less job openings up top that we had yesterday. ADP employment report says we're better than expected, right? So again, employment's going to be a big deal. We rallied a little bit on these job opening numbers, saying that, and I would say we rallied because we've had less of them and missed, because that's an indication of the Fed may stop raising. I don't think anybody's concerned about them bringing that down. Our trade balance is basically, missed, but it's pretty much the same. this conflict with China, you would expect that. The S&P Services PMI pretty much in line. It beat by 0.1, but that's not a huge deal. So, but this is mixed news, because yesterday it said that markets are starting to break down. ADP says markets aren't quite breaking down, and then we've got jobless claims tomorrow, continuing jobless claims. So, but I will, and then non-farm payrolls is probably the best number to look at coming in on Friday. So we might get some activity there as well. We got consumer credit, which is a big thing. Watch average hourly earnings, because one of the big things that the Fed's talking about is labor inflation. So if average hourly earnings are starting to increase and labor inflation is still out there, then again, you're not going to find a pivot. Fed's going to do what it's going to do. And, market's still in for still some good drops to the downside. So that's all I got on my end. Clutch, what's happening with you?
Well, let's check it out. The High Block Capital right here. Can you guys see that?
Well, you can see it.
Okay, yeah. So as you guys can see, we're flat. We're flat on the delta here. So everything's about even when you're looking at the liquidity or liquidations. But as you can see, we got a bunch of big gaps still kind of right here. Nothing's really filled up real well. So I do expect that we are just going to see a day of ranging pretty much from about where we're at, maybe a little lower down the lower 1300s. And then up to about the 1363s. I think we're going to probably hang out in this range and just bounce around for the rest of the day, to be honest with you, what I'm seeing here. But let's slide over and take a look at Bookmap and see if we see anything that is going to change our mind about what I just said. So as you can see right here, about 13.15, we do have we have a lot of liquidity right here to grab. This is going to be just underneath this high volume area that we're working our way through. So, based on how a lot of this works, if we really break below that, and we do break that 13.15 area, I would definitely expect to see some lower prices. So we may actually go lower and not range. So breaking below that 13.15 area and is if we bust through that, I would consider some lower prices, probably down into the 20 or 1270s a little later today. However, if we do get that bounce, which I think we'll go back up there and we'll start retesting this VWAP that's up here in this 1335 area. As far as long-term liquidity goes, let me zoom out here, see if you guys can see if we have anything big out here that's stabilizing, and right there it is, $1,000. So that guy's been there for a minute. If we start breaking down under that 1300, we get below 1270. I mean, $1,000 could be realistic, but we haven't seen that kind of price movement lately. So,
we've got that big support at 1210. So
yeah. So again, me personally, I think we're going to range 1300s, 1360s rest of the day. I think it's just going to be just a little up and down.
I definitely think a play back up to retest that VWAP is probably going to be in play. And then, we can see, and I think that VWAP was at that 1350s area, somewhere around that area. I mean, we've had this retest, which we all called yesterday. We said we're going to have a retest into this area. And then we'll just have to see if we move to the upside on that. But just, because we're back into these, the openings from the week. I mean, this is the range that we were in. Then I think we will range, but we'll just have to see. Again, I'll tell you, there's some good, all the volume's been to the downside. If we've got some good volume coming into the upside, then I'd be more inclined to tell you that we would be moving up. But I just we just bounced off the psychological high, so we'll just have to see.
Well, that's all we got here on the trading floor. Back to you, Ted.
Keaton, what are your thoughts on the market? Captain Keaton.
My thoughts on the market, I mean, y'all basically covered it. The way that I see it right now is it's just trying to figure out what it's trying to do. We don't have that much volume to the upside at all. Like, we really haven't had it all this last week, really. So I just think it's just going to try to figure out what its price is right now. Go between that 1330 range and that 1300, 1315 range too. But yeah, we probably won't see anything until later this week. Any major movements.
You heard it here first, folks. We got to be a little patient.
The market is not like
he was about to say something too. B. Wellington. I cut you off
No,
a little
I mean,
early yesterday. What's your hypothesis on today's future?
My hypothesis on the futures is that we'll probably get one move to the upside, retest that VWAP, especially if longs start to get on board. Again, I mean, just kind of looking at things like aggravated, our CVD spot, a lot of that coming out of FTX. That's really got to start to recover and rebound before, we're really going to start moving up. And so, I'd say we probably get a retest back into that 1350s area, and then probably head back down into that, and go back and test that 1300s area. But I do think we get a little bit of a pop to clear a little bit of room before we start moving back down to the downside, unless somehow a bunch of volume starts coming into the chart. Which is very possible, but I really don't think so. Again, this is our second update on the daily at least, and just really hadn't been a whole lot of volume. I would have thought that if we were going to move to the upside, then we would have done that when we were up there to break out from some of these key areas. But realized that it was nice and trappy, and so we'll see. But if we're going to move up, it's going to be now. It's going to be from here.
Well, you're to hear first, folks. If we're going to take off, it's going to happen real soon. So,
It is.
Stay frosty out there, my friends. I think it's going to be a choppy day. We'll catch you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Until then, AMF, dog.
Adios, motherfuckers.
Adios.